Costaki Economopoulos, and I'm just gonna pretend like, and we're gonna. I'm that 2 weeks ago when we were doing this, we did not get cut off by the internet goblins, and that this is continuing. I forgot to look before I left today and wear the same shirt. I don't know if I did or didn't. So,
oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't realize we were trying to match it up.
yeah, no, we're gonna leave this all in. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You know what happened? It was a karmic punishment for you and me indulging ourselves in a long ramble about how hard it is to be a stand-up comic.
It is, it's one of those things. It's like a great job to have, but we're just comparing. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else, just other entertainers.
I've laid sod for a few days. That is being a stand-up is nothing. Is hard. It's nothing like that.
Just comparing ourselves to other entertainers, like I can turn the electric guitar up loud enough to where you can kind of ignore me and be like, all right, I'm just gonna get a beer here, But it's just I would say it's not the hardest. It's definitely the most vulnerable you have to be.
Yeah,
like you're like a slam poet or something.
Yeah. And you're painfully or wonderfully aware at every second how it's going.
Yeah,
it's not a secret how you don't have to wait a year to see the movie.
Yeah, no. when you walk out, and the faster you get in the car, the worse it went. You're in LA now, but you've been LA, New York, and all that. LA's scene, I know, is a little bit different. It's not quite as much like I have, 10 sets tonight that I can get to, in one little kind of, wrap around. Like you can have a couple at different spots, but LA not as easy to get around in as New York, and not as compact, obviously. But I think about, and I never got to do it, and maybe one day I will, but those nights I'm very curious about. Okay, you're at the Cellar here, then you've got to go to Faster Pussycat, and then you've got to go to Caroline's, and you kind of just bounce all over these places. I wondered how, okay, you're good here, you're good here. The one in the middle that may not go as well, like how fast do you have to be like an athlete, a defensive back, and like, all right, look, I got burned on that one. I just got to turn it on, because you can't dwell on it at all. So maybe it makes you better, because you just have to be like, all right, well, that one sucked. Okay, on to the next one.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never got to see those glory days of, like, you hear like Louis tell a story about he would do 7, 8, 9, 10 sets in a night, hit a motorcycle, and he would just ride up and down in New York. He would do the set, jump on the bike. They pay him in cash. At the end of the night, he had hundreds of dollars of cash flowing out of his jean pockets, and he's holding a motorcycle helmet. And like, I never got to have that. That sounds great. I would occasionally, when I lived in the city, do 2 or 3 sets in a night. And that was, for me, that was like killing it, And that was pretty unusual too. I've always been like a creature of the road. I go to the road to make the money and then come home and try to be a good dad or a husband. I never fully, embraced or was received in a way like these guys describe doing many sets a night. Sounds fun. Sounds cool. I would love to have done that.
Yeah. And look, the time in my life is probably past too, and like I was a creature, I'm just a guy who you call me and say, hey, come here and do it. And if my wife says that I can go, I go. Yeah, we don't have anything planned. All right, good deal. How long you want tonight? So that's all I, have ever done. So, and then, like when I was younger in my 20s, when I was really running through the Southeast there on some of those, like just random cities that you wouldn't think would have a comedy club. Like in the early 2000s, like you wind up in these cities in Alabama and Mississippi and Georgia, and that you're like, oh, well, there's a comedy room here. What do you know about that?
What do you know about that?
Yeah, good deal. They don't have a Burger King, but they have a Comedy Zone. Good job.
Yeah, Dothan has a 2-night room. Really? Okay.
Yeah. No,
good luck, everybody.
Yep, I played Dothan. That was that was the room. I'll tell you this. I think I might have told you the story before, but I was the feature act, and I was like maybe like the fourth or fifth time I'd ever featured. Everything else was just host MC kind of thing. Like you have 15 minutes, go ahead. So I'm the feature act, and I go up on stage in Dothan, and it was a Saturday night, and it was the early show, and I had no idea, but I walked in, there was no one in the crowd. Like there's maybe like 12 people, like spread out. And the room was a decent size. So you definitely felt like, when there were 12 people, it felt like, are these people just here really early or what's going on? And so my first joke was, oh, hey, is there a NASCAR race tonight or something? And literally the only table that was sitting close to the front was 5 guys. And all 5 of them went, oh, shit, there is a NASCAR race tonight. It was like the one that they run under the lights. And they like went to the manager like, hey, can we just come back next week or the later show? And they just left. And
wow.
I was like, oh.
You're actually running them out. It's funny.
Yeah, that guy was mad at me. I was like, yeah. He's like, son, you're in Alabama. You probably need to know the NASCAR schedule before you make a joke like that.
Before you book a gig. Oh, man.
Fair enough.
That's the thing you learn when you get to the next level when you're producing your own shows is never book a Saturday in Nebraska in the fall. There's all these things that seem so obvious in retrospect. Never book Halloween weekend or 4th of July weekend. There's some of these things where you're like, oh, and then like when most of your career, you just work for a flat fee. And then when you produce your own show, you listen to the club owner bellyache about the hailstorm or the Final Four or whatever it is that's going on. You're like, whatever. And then when you produce your own shows, you're like, the hailstorm's killing me. It's dollar beer night across the street at the minor league game. How am we going to compete with that?
How cheap? You just go to the venue owner, like, how cheap can you make your beer right now? Like, what's the lowest we can go?
It's weird the number of things that you start to care about when you're the one who has the money on the line. Like, really, there's like a dead Grateful Dead tribute band. It's 2 blocks away. And, you're like, oh,
yeah. Okay, so you have transitioned well into this, which is something I'm trying to kind of figure out here, in that this podcast is sports and comedy. I think sports lends itself to comedy so much more than I think a lot of people maybe thought. And it's more of a growing field, but you leaned in with all pro lines and started making fun of the NFL. Right when I met you, so you've been doing this for a long time. I think it is so ripe to make fun of, because there are, especially professional athletes, there's not a group of people who take themselves more seriously than professional athletes and coaches. Like, they really, really do. And I understand why, because you've got millions of people that are, talking about what you did in your job every day. And it makes you think that what you do has some sort of life-changing effect on people, when most of the time it really doesn't.
Yeah, it's true. It definitely, it's essential. It's one of the last water cooler things. Like, if you look at the list of the top 100 shows at the end of the year, every year, most of them are NFL games, so it is one of the last things that people like all kind of, even when you don't follow football, it's almost like you tune into a soap opera once in a while. You kind of know some of the big names and some of the story arcs. And the big stories sort of bleed into the pop culture. And of course, the football dorks like us, we follow all the details, so to me, one of the challenges with stand-up is trying to figure out what level of knowledge that you can refer. Like I did a meme yesterday. Field Turf denies saying anything about Pacheco's mother. So that's funny to you and me.
Yeah.
But does everyone get that the Pacheco's mad at the ground situation? What's the percentage of football dorkdom that follows enough to get that joke? I don't know. It's a pretty good number, right? 40% of football nerds get that.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't know. Yeah. So that's when you're trying to find the funny in something. Part of the challenge is what's the common information that we all have, right? Like, all right, here's a joke I really like, and it didn't work as well as I wanted in the platform. All Pro Lines, come follow us at All Pro Lines. When the Sedona photos came out, Rossini claimed that she and Vrabel were part of a group of 6 people. Apparently, the other ones were the Invisible Man, the Loch Ness Monster, a Bengals cornerback, and Manti Te'o's girlfriend. I think that's a beautifully written joke, but it does, again, it's long. It requires a lot of information, you know. So that's part of the challenge with anything in comedy is, are you talking to a room full of people who all understand the same information, right?
Yeah.
And it's tricky with sports because people are at different levels of commitment to the knowledge base, you know?
Yeah. The last time I saw you was in Phoenix at the Super Bowl, and you guys had a really good hook for going around. Is you were going on and you were having the hosts read the jokes that you guys had written. And the thing I'll always remember was you were kind of surprised at the one. I went for the harshest. I was like, okay, no, let me go for this one. This mean, like this one's hard, right, dark and harsh. But to me, that's what's funny. Like I can watch a comedian die and laugh because I'm laughing at the material.
Oh yeah,
I'm just thinking all these people are so stupid around him. Like this is really good. This is really good. And but yeah, I kind of lean into that, and I like that. You can kind of bend into that with football a lot. You can bend into like, all right, well, you know, there's some guys here that need to be called on the carpet a little bit, and let's do that.
Right. Yeah, but you're right. That is, to me, that is one of the surprising aspects of that. I would get pushback. I would get, you know, Matthew Berry would like read a few jokes and go, I'm in business with Tom Brady. I can't be doing anti-Tom Brady jokes, you know. Phil Simms read a joke, and then the producer ran over and they go, please don't use that, you know, and they made him pick a more vanilla version, you know, of something. I forget that these guys, they could get into hot water for doing something that's perceived as mean or inappropriate or bashing one of their people, or you forget that because we're comics, you know, everything is acceptable for comedy. In fact, when it's one of the shorthands of when you're a comic and you meet another comic, even if you don't know the guy, you can immediately make fun of his shoes, you know, because everything is okay with comedy, you know. And I forget, because I'm in this world, that's not how the rest of the world sees comedy.
I've you know, for years, I mean, I got married late. Right. So I didn't get married till I was 41. So I needed my wife to tell me that, like, a couple times she's like, I don't know how they took that joke. Like, I knew you were kidding, but like they laughed, but I don't know if they were uncomfortable. And then like remind myself, like, oh, they don't know that I'm kidding. Like they have no idea.
Right.
I can't remember where we were. And we're just like at the checking out, and my wife was like, hey, don't put this here. And I was like, okay, just don't hit me this time. And I thought it was solid gold. And then she walked out and she goes, you know, that cashier probably thinks that I hit you.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, it is part of the job of the comic to understand context and timing and place and situation. And I catch the other day we were walking off the beach, and there were I was with my daughters, and there's these 2 Asian girls who were they were taking turns taking pictures with the pier in the background. And I was going to run over there and go, okay, one with me. And then I made my daughter uncomfortable, and I recognized that if they weren't Asian and young and pretty, then the joke would be better. Like it was too many strikes of like me being old and being creepy. There's too many. It was just a funny thing. I didn't have any of the other stuff in my head, but I recognize that the culture does. And so there is a constant balance of what's the perception of what's happening, not just what's happening in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's part of the game.
It happens. Like, I've gotten better, but it still happens because it's the instinct of like, oh, this is hilarious. I'm doing this. Uh,
And I
that,
think broadly, life needs more of that. We
yeah,
should. I mean, why should I? You know, it would have been funny to put my arm around the Asian girl and go one with me. She doesn't know me. That's the funny part. It's just that the extra additive bonus of me being 50 something and her being 18. Not to mention that I have a teenage daughter behind me.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's so, but it's eye-opening. The other thing that was eye-opening to me was when I never had someone that was like coming to every single, like, she just doesn't really come anymore. She gets she gets nervous for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she gets nervous for me, but also once she's seen it, she doesn't care. She'll just ask, did it go better this time? Like, that's what she'll ask. Like, I saw it. That was a good joke. Okay, good deal. Was it better on this crowd than that one? How did it go? Is it coming together? Because she's like, well, I've seen that. And I'm like, she's also not someone who, I can watch A Few Good Men 1,000 times. And I'm as entertained on viewing 1,000 as I was on viewing one. And she's more like, other than her stuff that's like different, but she's got like 5 movies like that. I've got like 500, but I'm the same way where she's like, I'm different, where she's like, no, I saw it. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, I'm always self-conscious when you bring a significant other to a thing where there's multiple shows. I'm bringing a friend on a cruise ship soon, and I'm like, oh, it's, please don't feel obligated to come to all the shows.
I was just on a Disney cruise, as a matter of fact, a month ago. And I wondered about the entertainment, and like they bring somebody on the cruise. Like, if you're just like, please go enjoy all the amenities that the cruise has to offer.
Yeah, there's some kind of a belly flop contest. You don't want to miss that.
Go. How many cruises have you done?
I spent several years not doing any, and now I'm doing about 6 weeks a year.
Okay,
so it's the perfect amount because it's still a novelty and it's still fun for me, and you're not gone forever. Like some of these guys, them, they get on ships and you never see them again.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine, Aaron, I don't know if you know him, Aaron Onyenpour. He's from Dallas, and he was actually, he or somebody new was like the replacement for a guy who just had 3 bad shows in a row.
Oh, wow.
The ship just didn't. They're like, look, when we get to Grand Cayman, we're going to get you a flight. And then,
oh, wow. Yeah.
Basically, they call the guy like, hey, how'd you like to fly to Grand Cayman? We've got like 10 more nights on this cruise. And
my goodness.
We need a replacement.
My heart goes out to the dude who flew home from Cayman. I can't imagine. I've only been fired once for not being funny enough. And that was 20 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
It's a weird thing on a, like, the thing about it is, like, when you're in Dothan, Alabama, like we were talking about earlier, and you're kind of average or bad at one set, you can just disappear and they never see you again. But
right.
Like on the cruise ship, you're just like at the breakfast buffet the next day.
Oh yeah. Okay. So look, I'll tell you this story. Years ago, back in the old days with Royal Caribbean, and then it's actually more of an era thing than a ship brand thing. In the old days, they did not care if you were funny. They cared about getting a letter from an old lady. Right. Yeah. So you just had to do the most vanilla possible version of yourself. Yeah. And now the ships are better. Now there's very often a space on the ship that has stand up every night. There's a little bit of self-selection by the audience. And if you think about it now, the audience has grown up with Carlin.
Yeah.
Right. Even the old guys on the ship, they grew up in the stand-up era, which is somewhat new. 20 years ago, that was not true. And the old people on the ship did not grow up with stand-up, and they didn't expect anything that wasn't vanilla. They were doing shows, Broadway shows with hat feather changes. The entertainment was terrible on ships back in the day. Now it's good. Like, Jersey Boys was on the ship I did recently. The entertainment is good on the ships now. And the comics are much better. So anyway, in the old days, it was different. And I did a show. I hadn't done a ship in a while. I forgot how weird they are. I would start a joke and realize I can't finish that. I was in my head. I was sweating. It was one of the worst shows of my life. I literally, after the show, I make a beeline back to the room, and a woman passed me in the hallway. She was at the show. It was my job to entertain her, and she said to me, "Are you okay?" That's how bad it was. And in the old days, they would flip the show, the big theater show. Everyone went to the big theater show. They would flip dinner and theater. You had a dinner seating assignment. You either ate at 5:30 or 7:30. And when you weren't in whatever the other one was, you were in the theater. So they would flip flop. So I go back to the room. I have an hour. I wash my face. I'm furiously making notes. Open with this, close with that. Don't do this. If you can pull this part out, you can do this whole chunk. I looked in the mirror, gave myself a pep talk. I'm at least the funniest guy on the boat. I just wasn't prepared. Mm-hmm. I go back. The next show I do quite well. Now I'm stuck on the ship for 2 days, and every time I see somebody, I know immediately which show they saw. That's a microcosm of what it is to be a comedian right there.
Yeah, it really is.
The swings are that big. Same stage, same 3-hour window, same suit, most of the same jokes, but there's something that's magical that happens or doesn't sometimes. And, you know, of course, if you start to tank and then really tank, man, it's painful for everybody. Now, those shows don't happen much anymore. I mean, they're still possible, keeps you on your toes, but yeah, there's a big swing.
Yeah, I was on a Disney cruise, which I couldn't recommend enough to people, but there were comedy shows, but they were all kind of improv based or like couples game show kind of a thing.
I got you. Yeah.
The host, she is a comedian and she is really good. Like I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but had I been like, hey, if you're ever like, please give me your website, because if you're doing stand-up or anything near me, like she was fast.
Oh wow.
But like she was really good. But this is a different gig altogether. But yeah, Disney's not going to have a stand-up comic because that would mean that they have to, be like, okay, here's the list of things you're not allowed.
Yeah, you only want a Nate Bargatze type. It's the only thing that fits with the branding. It's tricky for them. I get that.
And even with Nate, like, you're still running the risk of like,
right.
What is he?
Adult themes that are clean, right?
What is he gonna talk about? Or what, like, especially if you've got 2 Nate shows, or if he's doing or type like that, you've got a guy who, all right. Now, I do think, especially the other thing I think is wild about cruises is that whatever you're into, there's a cruise for it.
Oh yeah, right. I love that.
Yeah. So like if you're into like, stand-up comedy, just like any kind of anybody, there's a cruise that will have every kind of comic that you want on it because it's the stand-up. It's,
there's a reggae cruise and a poker cruise and a gay family cruise. And I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, because you're on the SS Haha and they're just taking you out. So
right.
Yeah,
I will say this about NCL, like I've done Norwegian a few times lately. There's a family friendly show. You're doing 40 plus and there's a toddler on the floor in front of you. You got to be clean on those. But on the late shows, they'll put up a sign that says 18 plus. You can't say the C word or Trump, but otherwise they kind of let you do whatever you want. And I definitely do adult late night comedy on those shows and they love it. The crowds are into it and the ship is cool with you being a little naughty. They want you to be. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's especially, you're probably doing that at 10 o'clock at night. They've had dinner. They've had a couple of rum runners. They're like, they're ready to go. And they're in that kind of mood.
Right.
Now the 7 o'clock shows had dinner and they're just biding their time until they can put the kids away.
Right. And like I said, even if you're 75 years old in 2026 on a ship, you grew up with Richard Pryor. That was a part of your cultural experience. Like these are grown-ups who are fine with R-rated comedy. In fact, they're thirsty for it. They love it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I run up against very few people who are like, I only like this, like as opposed to like when I was younger, they'd be like, I like this kind of comedy or this kind of comedy. And now I think it's much more of like, look, if you just make me laugh, I like you.
Yeah, sure.
I can, this guy's funny. I saw him in a movie, then I watched him in a stand-up special. And while like I'm not nuts about the language, all this, I'll tell you this. I went to see Book of Mormon with my mom, which is one of the funniest things.
It's dark, man.
It's dark and it's very dark. It's very funny though, and it's literally a joke every 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's tight. It's tightly written.
Yeah. And right. So I went with my mom and my aunt, my uncle, and some of my mom's friends. So all olds. Old. Yeah. And so the thing that's so brilliant about that show is that the first part of it starts out, and you would have no idea if you just based it on the first couple of songs that this thing is about to turn into Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Like you would have no idea, which is how they get you in. And so then they just take this left turn into what the show's really about. And I was so nervous that like my Catholic mother was going to be like, oh my God.
Right.
Because she like these people went because like, it won 400 Tony Awards and it's all this. And I was like, all right, let's buckle in. I'm ready. Like, and I was like ready. Like I had my thing. It's like, listen, you guys can leave if you want to. I'm going to stay for the rest of the show. And then I'll meet you at the Cheesecake Factory across the street, which literally there is a cheesecake factory.
I love the way this is going. So they loved it.
They loved it every second. Of it. Everything laughing uncontrollably.
Oh, that's great.
And I was just like, what? But you can't assume what people are going to like. You just have to go and do your best and be funny, or like just say like, all right, yeah, you shouldn't paint everybody with the brush. Now, that was 10 years ago. Now, like sometimes my mom will see something, well, that was a little rough for me. And I'm like, you want to see Book of Mormon.
Yeah, that's right. It was boot camp on comedy for the rest of your life. Nothing's going to get harder than that.
In 1978, my dad took my mom to Las Vegas, and they got front row tickets to see Red Fox.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So she was very shocked then in 1978. That's the generational thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then when she has a comedian son and all these things happen, it has been like, she's been at shows of mine. I opened for Daniel Tosh one time, and she came to both of those shows, and I had to warn her. I'm like, look, I'll be a good little Catholic boy as much as I can, but I've got to kind of dictate to the audience. But I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean, but she had a good time. So, it is. And she goes on, she's a cruiser herself. She goes on for a year. And she'll sometimes be like, well, that comedian, we went to the 10 o'clock show. I'm like, don't do that to yourself, Mom. Don't put yourself in the conflict where you and your other old have to be like, oh.
But I like this notion that it doesn't have to be your genre. If you're funny, if it hits you, it's good. This week I watched Monty Python's Holy Grail with my 17-year-old daughter. She'd never seen it. We were both excited about watching it, and then as we're just about to push play, it occurred to me like, oh, she might hate this.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, just to get. I mean, this is very smart, but preposterously silly. If it's not your cup of tea, it's okay. We don't have to watch the whole thing. And then the first scene, I forget, like they come over the hill and you hear the click, 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 and it's him with the coconut. There's not a horse. It's just that silly immediately. And she loved it. I was like, oh, okay, good. And each scene with the knight and the thing and the French taunting knight, and like she liked it all. It was like, okay, great. I'm relieved.
Yeah, I remember showing my nephews Airplane for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And wondering if they were going to get it. Like, are they just going to laugh at the stuff that is just the physical comedy of all that? Like, when they pull, like, will they get when they pull Kareem out and he's in his basketball shorts? Like, it's like why that's funny. Like, not like just because he's not, like those kind of things. Are they going to laugh at the things that that they should laugh at. And I was so surprised that like they did get like some of those things that like I wouldn't have thought they did. You know, I did have to explain you know, Florence Henderson and who she was and why that was so
some of
so
them are
much funnier
cultural
to
things.
me.
Right.
Because I was like, well, here's the deal. She was on a show called Leave the Beaver. And they're like, oh, this show was on when you were alive. I'm like, no. But
no, we
when
saw
I
it
was
reruns. Yes.
when I was a child, there was only so many shows that they could show you. So we've all like trying to describe this to the younger generation, I think is also weird in that you describe like, okay, so right now you can watch anything that's ever been made ever in the history of the world, unless there's some weird rights issue with it. Other than that, like
yeah,
the reason that you look up something and you can't find it is because for whatever reason, a contract has not been signed or, you know, the partnership dissolved and they're fighting over it. Wait a year and it'll pop back up again. Like it's not lost to time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because they make so much stuff. But when we were younger, the stuff that they had made before, they only made so much. So there was only so many TV networks and so many episodes of certain things. So when they had to fill time, it was just with, okay, well, what do we have? We have Leave It to Beaver. We have the, you know, the Nelsons and all these other things that this generation would never watch. Taxi.
Yeah, you're homesick on a Tuesday. You're going to watch Petticoat Junction, and you're going to like it.
I got half the jokes on Conan about Barney Miller because I just knew that, like, you know, I knew the characters in Barney Miller. Gilligan's like, you know, trying to describe Gilligan's Island to a 22-year-old intern here. Just they've all heard it, but they've never seen it. I'm like, yeah, I guess TBS is different now. Like
that's why I understand it. How you could date somebody significantly younger than you. I mean, I get the appeal of the curves and the thing, but what do you talk about? They don't know any of these references. How could you possibly get along with that person?
My wife is 5 years younger than me, and there's still some minor little generational gaps there.
Right.
Where I'll mention something, she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm not that much older than you, but like, okay." You know, like our common ground is like we both remember staying by the bell to the same level. But like after that, it's weird. So like, yeah, I don't know. Like I do sometimes, like Andrew, my producer, he's got his parents show him things like, so, hey, we're going to watch, like you did with Monty Python and Holy Grail. We're going to watch this. And that's been his whole life. But if you have parents that aren't into that, then you go get a job at a media company like this. And, you know, we're making, I mean, heck, even old school references or The Hangover or something like that. It's like, whew,
I get it. I mean, I've been, my kid and I have kind of a running joke where she'll say, "Hey, do you know so-and-so, some current actor?" I'm like, "I don't know." And then she follows it up with, "Oh, how could you not?" And then I just throw it right back in her face. Like, "You never heard of Goo Goo Dolls?" Oh, it's just a different cohort of references that's going through time. You know, It's not that I'm not connected. It's that I'm the wrong age group. Stop judging me for not knowing your obscure current actors. I don't know. I don't care about these characters.
Yeah, no, I find about people when they like wind up, they're just old enough to wind up in something that I like. Like, you know, like, oh, who was that? Like, oh, they were pretty good in that, you know, in that movie I just watched with people that were my age in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So you wrapping it up with this, because I want to bring it back to All Pro Lines and what you do. Is the off season difficult for you on that because you've got to kind of always feed the beast, or has the NFL done us all a favor in the constant churning of news gives you some fodder?
The NFL is astounding. They do such a good job of not really having, and I mean, this is probably the slowest month in the NFL calendar, May, right?
Yeah.
And still today they announced Super Bowl's going to Nashville. The draft is going to Minnesota. We have all these announcements of all the games all over the place. And, you know, we got the Vrabel controversy and Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Like, it's amazing how much NFL news there is in the slowest month of the year. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to agree. Yeah, go ahead.
No, they do such a good job of making it year round. And the good news for me, I mean, just to pull back the curtain for me, I do a regular radio segment
Yeah.
and I'm very active during the season. And in the off season, I'm basically writing jokes for All Pro Lines, the social media platforms.
Mhm.
And so there's no real pressure and it's kind of fun because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't have to write a joke today, but if I do, I could write 4 and post them and it's fun. Come follow All Pro Lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, whatever. Here's a few examples. First ever game in France this year. They just announced that last week. To make the French fans feel more at home, the referees are only going to throw white flags. You see, there's a reference that somebody young might not get.
Yeah.
It's World War II comedy. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And then when there's one of these kind of which I refer to as like an Antonio Brown story, something that's just salacious and ridiculous, like this stuff with Vrabel and Rossini it's the perfect fodder for comedy. It's the kind of thing that everyone's talking about, Weary of pressing questions about his personal life, Mike Vrabel announces plans to attack Iran. That's kind of, I mean, those kind of jokes, when you land on something like that, you're like, oh, that's fun. I can't wait to post that. And it's not due anywhere. I just do it whenever I want. So it's fun.
Yeah. The Vrabel thing is so interesting to me on so many levels. And one of which is that if he was a coach, like, okay, you're a Falcons guy, Arthur Blank is one of the more buttoned down owners in all of sports. Like, he's really buttoned down. If Vrabel was his coach, I think he'd have been fired.
Because I
don't think Arthur Blank would want the smoke. I don't think he would want the constant questions. He would just be like, look, everybody's got their personal things, but I can't have it affecting my business. I mean, the guy built Home Depot. Like, he
brought a soccer team to Atlanta and won the championship. He's the pioneer of, I mean, he's going to be part of the reason that the stadium is there and that the World Cup is going to play games in Atlanta and that, the Falcons sell hot dogs for $2. I mean, he's a big part of a lot of the cool things that are happening in Atlanta for sure.
But since his owner is Robert Kraft, who got his butter churned at a massage place that got raided,
right? Like
he calls him into the office and he's like, look, all I can say is, did you learn nothing from me?
Knock it off. Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed because I don't want to see you make the same mistakes that I did. It's very much please don't do this, but he couldn't be like, you're fired. This has embarrassed the organization. Be like, well, I mean, everybody knows my girl's name.
Yeah. And the other not so quiet secret to all this is, the Patriots went through a few years of not being good at all. And last year they were really good with Vrabel.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
I mean, so, you don't want to rock the boat when you finally put together all the pieces. I get it. It's pro sports, there's going to be delicate. Not all the rules apply to everybody in the same way. This is not Little League,
There's a difference between ethics and rules.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And outcomes, and you're going to have a lot more bandwidth to accept some things that are bumpy if you're doing well. And, we'll see what happens. That's what's fun about sports is it's all this soap opera of this coach is having this problem and this guy wasn't drafted and goes over here and he's a superstar. This guy blows out a knee and will he come back? And the rivalries. And I love all of that stuff. That's what drew me to football in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. Costaki Economopoulos, Costaki, where can people go and find your tour schedule and come and see you play? Mostly in theaters now, right? You're mostly doing.
What I've found that's really a fun place for me is breweries.
Oh, wow.
Breweries are already filled with 55-year-old white guys who like football. It's already my demo.
Yeah.
So breweries are a good match. And they're also not annoyed if you only draw 52 people. They're like, hey, 52 people who wouldn't be here drinking beer otherwise. They're great.
Yeah.
So I'm all over the place. I do some theaters. I do some clubs. I do some colleges. I do some ships. I do some weird little self-promoted shows. Costaki.com has all that info. follow me on the social media platforms. Costaki Economopoulos. I'm easy to find. If you can't spell it, just start and Google will fill it in for you. And All Pro Lines is the brand, the football joke brand. So whatever your favorite social media platform is, come find us. We're on Facebook and Instagram mostly, but we're also on TikTok and Threads, and we're out there wherever you are. You can find us.
I will tell people who are worried. Kostaki Jenkins is the second most searched Kostaki on Google. So once you get past Kostaki and hit the E, you're pretty much there.
You could just type in the biggest name at comedy, and Google will get you to where you need to be.
Absolutely. My good friend Costaki Economopoulos here with us on the Sports Game Podcast with Paul Catalina. Go see him live. Look at his stuff online. It's all great. We've known each other for, almost 15 years now. I can't believe it. It's crazy. And I hope that we can I would love to do a show with you one day.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. So if you need somebody to come and do 15 minutes in front of you, you tell me where to go and I'll go there.
Just today I was daydreaming this, like, why am I not working at the city with the Super Bowl every year? Right? Like, you and I should do that, or the draft, or, one of these like tentpole NFL moments. We should be doing these things.
The next one's in LA. So
I know, that's a good point. I'm right here.
Like there's I don't know if you like, I'm sure you're right because you live there, but there's several comedy clubs there.
There's a few around. Yeah.
In the surrounding areas that we could do. I mean, it's no Dothan. I'll give you that. It's no Dothan.
Good callback. That's a heck of a closer. Good button on the segment.
The Laugh Factory wishes every day it could be the Comedy Zone in Dothan, but one day they'll get there. One day they'll get there. Costaki Economopoulos, love you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Love you, bud. See you.
This is the Sports Game Podcast with Paul Catalina.